What is happening, people? It is Brian Alsruhe with NEVERsate.com, and today's video is another viewer requested that has been coming at me a lot. And a lot of people want to know, how do you prepare and peak for a strongman competition or a powerlifting competition? Now, this question, there is no cookie cutter answer to this. How you're gonna prepare is completely different than how I'm gonna prepare is completely different than anyone else gonna prepare. So it's gonna be a lot of trial and error until you get this figured out. So, what I do today is I'm just gonna lay out what I personally feel works for me and most of the athletes I work with. But again, this is gonna have a lot of trial and error, so if you guys give this a try and it works, awesome. If it doesn't, throw it out. But hopefully there's some pieces that you can glean from this so you can take what's important and get rid of what's not, so that hopefully you can build your own plan in getting ready for prepping for a comp. Now for this particular video, I'm gonna be talking about specifically getting ready for a strongman competition because I'm a competitive strongman. So the main reason for this video is because I constantly get emails for people buying programming, but a lot of guys want me to prepare them for a competition. I ask how much time they have before it, and unless they have about 4 months, I'm kind of like, man, I'll write you a program for whatever you want, but it's not specifically going to be getting you ready for that competition. And the reason why is because for me in particular, if I'm gonna prepare properly for a strongman competition, it takes me about 16 weeks, which is a considerable amount of time. Now also remember, this messes up all of my other training. It's not so much like powerlifting where your competition is almost like going for PRs. Strongman competition is not like that at all. You need to stop your regular training to focus more on the events that are at hand, and those events change every single competition. So it is much more complicated. For that reason, 16 weeks is just about the minimum that I personally take to prep for something correctly. I can rush a ton of things and get it done, but that doesn't make it good. Now for me personally, the first 9 to 12 weeks of that entire 16-week progression is nothing but a basic program that is going to work everything, right? It is going to try to build up my static strength like crazy. I'm trying to get my conditioning in so I have the lungs. It will be touching the strongman implements, but I might be doing a little bit of the event work for the competitions coming up. However, for the most part, I'm just trying to be as well-rounded as possible. I'm trying to do all variations of presses, all variations of squats. I'm doing whatever I can, but I'm trying specifically just to be as well-rounded and driving up that base strength as much as I can before I really go into the final prep for my comp. Now, how long that initial building phase lasts really depends on what type of program I'm gonna be running. If it's something more like Conjugate or Dark Horse, I'm gonna stretch it out a little bit longer because for me personally, I tend to get more benefit of that if I kind of lengthen it. However, it's something like rotating percentages, I'm gonna get to the point much faster, probably in something like 9 weeks. But no matter what length I decide to go with, I'm gonna set it up so it finishes about 4 weeks out from the day of the competition. So at this 4-week out point, a couple things are gonna happen. Number one, I'm going for PRs, whether it be in my normal lifts or if I have a 1 rep max coming up in the strongman competition, I'm gonna find out what that 1 rep max is. 4 weeks out is a really good time to kind of test things, to get an idea of where you're at. With that in mind, I also highly recommend that you do a mock meet. If it's for powerlifting, you're finding out your openers, all of those types of things. If you're doing strongman, you are doing the competition the exact same way that you would on competition day. You're gonna use competition weights, you're gonna start that day the exact same time that the competition starts on the day of. You're gonna do your nutrition the same, you're gonna be within 10% of your weight cut weight, wherever you need to be. Everything needs to be the same. If I were you, I would get a friend to come, act just as a judge, a very strict judge, go over every single event just in order, take the crappy little 10-minute warm-up that they're only gonna give you the strongman competition, mimic it as closely as possible so you can get some real data on where you're actually at. 4 weeks out is a wonderful time to know that you suck. You can fix a lot in that time. 2 days out is a little more complicated. But luckily for everyone here, I did an entire video about mock meets and exactly how you wanna lay it out. Everything you want to do, just search my name plus mock meets. I will also try to link that above. I'm probably going to forget though. Another thing that I would highly encourage that you do is record all of your mock meet. Get all your events on, and then you're going to sit there and you're going to study and you're going to look at where you can shave time, right? Everything. It's just like a college football team going in and watching video of their practices or watching another team. Watching tape can tell you so much about what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, because what you're thinking is going on is not reality. You're gonna find out that you're doing some things much better than you thought you were, and you're also gonna find out that that thing that you think is awesome, that kinda sucks. All right, so now awesome, you have all this data from your mock meet, you find out where your weak points are, exactly what you need to be working on for the next couple weeks before it is game time. And if things went to plan, then hopefully you're sitting on some new PRs in your your main lifts as well as maybe some strongman lifts. However, you don't need to think about those anymore between now and the competition. Really what I do with my strength stuff from that point on is just stick it on maintenance. And basically what I mean by that is I will do my reps and sets, but pretty much I don't go much above 85% because the hay is in the barn, people. The work has been done. You're not gonna get much stronger in the next 2 to 3 weeks. It is not worth really focusing on that because as with everything, the closer that you get to the actual event, you need to become more and more specific about your training. And unfortunately, everything costs something, which means your main lifts are going to suffer. And the main reason why is because you're gonna be spending all of your time on the events for this competition. So an average workout for me, let's say it's my squat day, I might come in, hit 5 sets of 5 on the squat at maybe like 80-85%, and then I will go into my events. Now I will pick usually 1 event a day, maybe 2 events, depending on how taxing those events might be. But I typically work out 4 times a week. There's 5 events in Strongman Competition, so you work out that math however you need to work it out. But I'm not kidding, after that strength work done, it is literally just event. That's all I'm doing. Now, depending on what's going on, let's say it's a medley, I might run that medley 6 to 7 times that day. Now, not every single one of those runs is gonna be at 100% of the contest weight, but that's also gonna depend on how prepared for this show I actually am. If the contest weights seem like a joke to me, then I'm 100% running it at contest weight. However, if that contest weight is kind of dangerous or a little bit iffy, then I'm gonna be running lower percentages the entire time because the last thing you wanna do is tweak yourself or hurt yourself before the competition this close. Now, people always want me to give them cookie cutter answers to what percentages they should be running their events at during which weeks or whatever. Guys, that's gonna be up to you. If I was sitting there with you during personal coaching online or here in my gym, I could tell you exactly what you need to be doing. However, there's no way I could tell you right now where you will be 15 weeks from now as far as what percentage you should be running and what things are not going well, what things are going well. It's just not reasonable, right? So if you guys do need some reasonable type of thing, go with this, okay? If the contest weights are an if for you, if it's gonna be a reach the day of, then I want you to run about 3 weeks out, go at about 75 to 80%. The next week, go about 80-85%, then run it like 90, go into your deload, and then hopefully the 100% will be there after your deload. If contest weights are a joke for you, then you need to be running contest weights as much as you possibly can. And if you're kind of in that weird middle zone, then I'd probably say 3 weeks out, be running your events like 80% to 85%, then 85, 90, whatever the case may be, right? Each time that you're doing them, I would encourage you, if you are able to do the contest weight, at least go up and touch it once or twice, but you do not need to be running the contest weight constantly, guys. A lot of being good at a contest comes down to your transitions, your footwork, how quickly you can get to the bar or whatever the case may be, and all of that comes from practice of the runs. It's just reps. The 3 weeks following my mock meet, I will literally be tearing everything apart. If it is a keg for height over bar, we're literally tearing down different ways to get heavier kegs above without the traditional stuff. If it is a medley, we're literally twisting sandbags and turning kegs fractions of an inch just to make sure that the transition can be a little bit faster. We're working footsteps, foot speed, all of that comes into play. You guys would be absolutely shocked if you took something like a medley and you ran it once or twice and took your times, and then 5 times later, if you looked at that exact same time with the exact same weights, you will cut that time almost in half simply with practice and trying to shave little seconds here and there. And if we're being honest, when you're getting ready for a strongman competition, that is exactly all that your focus should be on. But for the most part, I'll be running my strength on maintenance and just doing those events at different intensities for about 3 weeks. And then I'm about a week out for the comp. Now, this last week is a deload. I did an entire video on how to deload. Again, this is gonna be athlete specific. How you do it is gonna be different than how I do it. Now, I've been training for a very long time. Like, I've got like 25 years under the bar. So I don't forget how to deadlift in like a week, right? So for my deload, for the most part, if I'm comfortable where I'm at and I know those events down flat, I don't do anything during my deload. If I have to cut weight, I cut weight. Other than that, I sit on the couch. Nothing. However, I do realize that not everyone is like me and you might get untrained faster. So if you find that your deadlift form gets a little bit shaky, if you haven't done it for a little bit, then you might need to run a little bit of a deload where you're running things like 40%, 50% of your 1 rep maximum during those events or during your main lifts or whatever the case may be. But again, guys, check out that video. It gives you a couple options of how you can run it yourself, but you're gonna need to do some trial and error to figure out what your body does best as far as that goes. Now, for you, all of you who do not believe in a deload and don't think it's necessary, I can tell you 100%, I've gone into competitions the week prior, literally 7 days prior, have ran the exact weights of a competition and zeroed it, right? Specifically, I'm thinking about a stone over bar event. It was like a 330-pound stone. I could not get 1 rep. And 7 days later, I needed to be competing. I literally did nothing but stress about those stones for 7 days, and then the day of the competition came and I got 7 reps. The only thing that changed is that I was actually rested. So if you guys are dealing with this question in your head of, I need to know that that weight is there, right? Like if you need that kind of reassurance that you know that you have that weight, don't do it the week of. If you've hit it in the past, trust it's going to be there. If you haven't hit it yet, we'll see if the Dload solves it, but you're not gonna be able to hit a PR and then 3 days later hit another PR. That is a terrible idea just for your own little self-assurance on it. Do not do it. You're better off with the rest because this is just like a video game. The life meter on your video game, think about it like your CNS. Every single heavy thing that you do starts ticking that thing down. Now, every single heavy thing that you choose not to do might replenish it a little bit. You need food, you need rest, you need to do all the right things. However, you want that bar as high as possible when you go into your competition so that hopefully you go from zeroing something to getting 7 reps. But one thing's for sure, if you keep screwing around with it all week before the competition, you're getting a 0. You have to trust that the hay is in the barn, you've done the work, you did your homework. If you're not prepared now, it is your fault, but you can't really cram for a strength competition. So yeah, guys, there you go. That is personally how I do it, and hopefully you guys can glean a couple points from this that will help you guys prepping for your own competitions. Also, remember, during a strongman competition, you're really only doing work for about 4 minutes out of that entire day, and you have an entire week deload. So a lot of people, if they're not too beat up from the competition, the week after the strongman competition can PR on just about everything. Then on the other hand, if you're really beat up, you're not gonna be able to do anything at all. Time will tell. Anyway, guys, I hope some of you will find this helpful. I thank you guys so much just for everything, all the support, all the comments, for subscribing, for leaving comments, for sharing. It's just absolutely amazing, guys, and I thank you so, so much for it. I will catch up with you guys later in the week, but until I do, go out to something amazing in your lives. Keep working hard, people. Be nice to each other, and I'll see you then.